taxable event under customs. So in this segment, we are covering constitutional provisions, levy, definitions and options available to the importer, and what are the various documents involved, and relevant data for determination of rate of duty and exchange rate. You can see here constitutional provisions. First, section this Customs Act is levied via Customs Act 1962. Customs Act 1962 empowers government to bring in the levy of customs duty, but for that, is there any constitutional reference? Yes, constitutional provisions are there. Power to levy, entry 83 of Union List of 7th schedule to the Constitution. Accordingly, we have Customs Act 1962, which contains a provision for levy and collection of customs duty. Customs Tariff Act, which contains a rate at which customs duty is payable on import or export. And one more important point we saw is that garment goods shall be treated on par with non-garment goods also for the purpose of levy of customs duty. Then we saw taxable event. Taxable event, so import and export. In case of import of goods, so what is a taxable event? Imported goods cleared for home consumption, the date on which goods cross the customs barrier for entry for home consumption, that will be called as the taxable event as per Garden Silk Mills case. Whereas if the imported goods are deposited in warehouse and cleared at a later point of time for home consumption, customs barrier is crossed as and when we file the ex-bond bill of entry for home consumption. So customs barrier crossed as and when goods are cleared from warehouse for home consumption, for which what is a bill of entry that will be filed? Ex-bond bill of entry will be filed. Then next, what is a taxable event in case of export of goods? So as and when goods cross the territorial waters, as specified in Sun Exports case and Rajendra Dyeing and Printing Mills case by Supreme Court. Then section 12 talks about levy of customs duty. Section 12 of Customs Act, total 4 conditions. There must be goods, and that goods must be dutiable goods. Dutiable goods means those goods which are specified in the Customs Tariff Act 1975 is called as dutiable goods. Such dutiable goods should be imported or exported. That import or export should be into India or export from India. Then the 4 conditions for levy of customs will be completed. Then we have some important definition. Meaning of goods. Goods includes vessels, vehicles and aircraft. Stores, baggage. Baggage refers to passengers luggage. Stores refers to goods which are used in the conveyance, currency and negotiable instruments and any kind of movable property. Stores means what? Stores means goods for use in vessel or aircraft, and includes fuel, spare parts and other articles of equipment whether or not for immediate fitting. Those which are used in the conveyance during the journey is known as stores. And import. Import means bringing into India from a place outside India is known as import. And export, same. Taking goods from India to a place outside India is known as export. And what is the meaning of India? India includes territorial waters. Territorial waters means up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline, and all the provisions of Customs Act 1962 will be applicable in territorial waters. Then we have exclusive economic zone, that is up to 200 nautical miles from the baseline. This exclusive economic zone is also known as Indian customs waters, and few sections empowering the customs officer to arrest and search a vessel is extended up to 200 nautical miles, and high seas is beyond 200 nautical miles from the baseline. Then what is the customs area? Customs area means in the customs port or airport, that area which is under the control of customs is known as customs area. Not entire port or airport is controlled by customs department. In the port or airport, there is a area which is under the control of customs department, that is known as customs area. Area under customs station or warehouse and includes any area in which imported goods or exported goods are ordinarily kept. Then Indian customs waters already we know. So therefore up to 12 nautical miles is territorial waters, and up to 24 nautical miles contiguous zone. Beyond 24, that is up to 200 nautical miles, is known as Indian economic zone or exclusive economic zone, Indian customs waters. Customs officer can execute their powers up to Indian customs waters. Then we saw export goods. Export goods means goods which are to be taken outside India. Exporter and importer, both definitions are same. Exporter means owner, importer also owner. Beneficial owner, beneficial owner. Any person holding himself out to be exporter, here any person holding himself out to be importer. Beneficial owner means on whose behalf the goods are imported or exported is known as beneficial owner. Suppose if I am the owner of the goods and if you are importing, I am the beneficial owner and you are called as a person holding yourself to be importer or exporter as the case may be. So beneficial owner means any person on whose behalf the goods are being imported or exported, or who exercises effective control over the goods being imported or exported. Imported goods means, you know, any goods which are brought into India. Baggage means what? Baggage means passengers luggage, that is which are in the conveyance, that is in the aircraft or vessel, and that may be either the luggage of the passenger or luggage of the crew, etc. It includes unaccompanied baggage. Unaccompanied baggage means the bag can be brought by the passenger or it may come before his arrival. That is called as accompanied or unaccompanied baggage. Accompanied means I am only bringing. Unaccompanied means I am not bringing, but it will come before my arrival or after my arrival. That is known as unaccompanied baggage, but does not include motor vehicle. No one will bring motor vehicle as a part of baggage and all. So that is not relevant now in today's context. Coastal goods. Coastal goods means any goods other than imported goods which are transported from one port in India to another port in India. So this is in the context of transit and transshipment we have seen. So wherein goods taken from one port or airport in India to another port or airport in India is known as coastal goods. Other than imported goods transported in a vessel from one port in India to another port. What are the two options available to the importer? Option 1, either the imported goods can be cleared for home consumption upon payment of customs duty. What is the bill of entry that will be filed? Bill of entry for home consumption. Option 2, the imported goods can be kept in a warehouse without payment of customs duty, and at a later point of time, after filing ex-bond bill of entry and by paying customs duty, the goods can be cleared. So this is what, as soon as the goods are imported, we will file a bill of entry for warehousing or inbound bill of entry, and the goods will be taken to the warehousing station, and thereafter we file ex-bond bill of entry for clearance from the warehouse. Without filing bill of entry, the unloaded goods cannot be cleared for home consumption or for warehousing. Definitely bill of entry has to be filed, and goods can be cleared to warehouse without payment of duty, but at a later point of time we need to pay the customs duty. And when the bill of entry to be filed before the date of arrival, the time limit is before the date of arrival. Suppose if it is filed later, we need to pay a late fee. So as clearance from warehouse is the taxable event, at the time we imported and kept in the warehouse, that time the goods are dutiable. By the time of clearance from warehouse, the goods became exempted. We don't have to pay any customs duty because clearance from the warehouse is only the taxable event. And whenever we are referring to customs warehouse, it is not a warehouse owned by the government, but it is licensed by customs department. Then importer can also obtain a license for his own warehouse so that he can defer his customs duty payment. Then various documents involved. So in case of import or export, import, what is the document to be filed by person in charge? What is the document to be filed by importer? And in case of export, document to be filed by person in charge, document to be filed by exporter. If it is vessel, in case of person in charge means master of the vessel, pilot in case of aircraft, conductor or guard or any other person. So in case of vessel, import manifest, aircraft, arrival manifest, vehicle, it is import report. This is a document to be filed by person in charge containing the details of the goods present in the ship. Whereas in case of export, vessel, here import manifest, so export manifest, arrival manifest, departure manifest, import report, export report. Then what is the document to be filed by importer with the customs department? All these documents are filed by the respective person with the customs department. Document to be filed by the importer is bill of entry only, all the three cases. Whereas in case of export, the document to be filed by the exporter is shipping bill in case of vessel and aircraft, and bill of export in case of vehicle. Then only after filing import manifest, grant of entry inwards is given for the vessel to enter into India. I told you the concept of grant of entry inwards is not applicable in case of aircraft and vehicle, because whether we give permission or not, the aircraft or vehicle can come. So that is the next point. The concept of grant of entry inwards is not applicable in case of aircraft or vehicle, but arrival manifest or import report should be filed before arrival. Along with bill of entry, importer has to submit the document of title to the goods. What is the document of title to the goods? In case of aircraft, it is airway bill. In case of vessel, bill of lading. In case of vehicle, it is lorry receipt or railway receipt to claim the ownership of the goods. And an invoice raised to him by the supplier outside India is also to be filed, because first as an importer, I need to prove that this is my goods. For that purpose, I need to submit the document of title to the goods, means I am the owner of the goods. In case of aircraft, it is called as airway bill. In case of vessel, it is called a bill of lading. And in case of vehicle, it is called as lorry receipt or railway receipt. Second, I need to prove this is the correct value. For that purpose, I need to submit the invoice given by the exporter to me. Third, I need to file the bill of entry. So that is this statement. Then next, what is the relevant date for determination of rate of duty and exchange rate? Suppose if it is import, option 1 cleared for home consumption, option 2 warehousing and export. Section 15 talks about the relevant date for determination of rate of duty in case of import. Section 16 talks about relevant date for determination of rate of duty in case of export. As per section 15, if it is option 1 and we are importing by vessel, date of presentation of bill of entry or grant of entry inwards, whichever is later. And if it is aircraft, date of presentation of bill of entry or date of arrival, whichever is later. Vehicle also same, bill of entry or arrival, whichever is later. But in case of option 2, cleared for home consumption, the date on which we file the ex-bond bill of entry for home consumption will be taken. And what is the relevant date for determination of exchange rate? Always it is bill of entry date. But in case of option 2, there are two bill of entries. One at the time of deposit into the warehouse, into bond bill of entry. Second, at the time of clearance from the warehouse, ex-bond bill of entry. But which is relevant for exchange rate? For exchange rate, it is into bond bill of entry or in bond bill of entry. Whereas for rate of duty, it will be ex-bond bill of entry. Then, what is the relevant date for determination of rate of duty in case of export? As per section 16, the date on which we get the let export order from the customs department, that let export order date is relevant for rate of duty. Whereas for exchange rate, it is the date on which shipping bill is presented or bill of export is presented. Shipping bill is a document in case of vessel and aircraft, bill of export in case of vehicle. And exchange rate as determined by CBIC only should be taken, and RBI or market rate should not be taken. In case of improper imports or improper exports, the relevant date is the date on which we pay the customs duty. Improper import or improper export means smuggling. In case of smuggling, the date on which we pay the customs duty, that is taken as the relevant date. So this is about the revision of the first chapter, that is taxable event under customs.